Hey, this is Trevor, or Ustara as I'm known on YouTube. I recently just watched this video, Rant About Studios by Lilieth, and I just thought it was interesting. I wanted to express some opinions on it. I just want to make real first a quick statement that these are just my opinions and they don't reflect on Revolution Studios. And also, there's even though I pretty much completely disagree with Lilieth, it's nothing personal against her. I never met her before. I don't really know anything about her before seeing her video or audio commentary, whatever you want to call it. I just wanted to go over some of the things she said in her video and kind of reply to them because I think it's kind of a misconcepted view a lot of people have of studios when they see them. And I'm making these statements from the point of view of being in one of the more popular video or studios on YouTube. Now, I also want to state too that I don't think or feel that any of her comments were specifically related to my studio, but I'm going to use examples through my studio because it is in the atmosphere of the type of studios that she did mention. So, the five things I want to talk about that she mentioned were auditions, popularity, the concept of a main studio, drama, and then editing as a hobby. So starting out with auditions, I think a lot of people get the wrong idea with auditions. There are some studios, not too many that I've seen, but there are some that hold auditions just because they are simply and purely looking for the best members they can possibly get, and they only want people who edit well. I think that's kind of far and few between, and I also think that if that's the type of studio that has those kind of auditions, they're going to get a very specific type of person applying, and only the type of people that actually want to be in a studio like that. So I think, in essence, really it's fine because that's what those people want. That's why they edit. Even if it is just a hobby, if you play basketball as a hobby and you're going to do 2 versus 2 tournaments, you want the best teammate you can get and you're in it for competition more than the fun, then that's great. That's what you're for it. Not everyone plays basketball to play it competitively. Some people just want to shoot with their friends and that's what they want to do. That's fine. But if you want to be competitive, I think you should be allowed to be without the judgment of you being looked upon like you're degrading other people, because that's not the case. You're just looking for a different thing out of editing than other people are. I know as far as re-evolution goes, the biggest reason we did auditions is to help us really see who's interested. And we did private auditions because I don't like the idea of posting everybody up and everyone can see each other's videos and things like that. We asked people to send a PM, and we did ask to see their work because, it is an editing studio, so we want to see how people edit, and we want to make sure they'd fit in with our editing style so that if we do a project together, we know it's going to have a flow and it's going to feel right because you don't want a huge variation of editing skill levels, even if that sounds kind of elitist. It's not really, because the number one thing we're looking for was potential for someone and effort. I don't want someone in my MEP if they're just going to not even try on their track. And good's a matter of opinion, so it's always going to vary anyway. But so I think the purpose of auditions is more for narrowing down who's actually interested, because when you have studios like this and you feel like you want a couple more members, um, there's, like you said, the popularity thing has become huge, and Re-Evolution has collectively tens of thousands of subscribers, so it's hard to really get to know everyone. So this is a good way to break ice and get to know who has watched our videos, who's talked to our people in comments and stuff, and who actually likes the idea of Revolution, who wants to be involved in it. So that's the purpose of the auditions. And I will tell you this for a fact too: how people edited was not the primary thing we looked at. We actually asked for people to give a paragraph or two explaining themselves, an introduction, per se, their hobbies, and then why they're interested in Re-Evolution. And that was the biggest thing. There was a couple people who sent in amazing videos, who had really awesome 3D effects and stuff, but their paragraph, quote unquote paragraph, was something like, "Oh, Re-Evolution is the best studio. We want to be in it." And those people weren't even considered because we don't want that kind of attitude involved with us or around at all, really. So that was the purpose of our auditions, and nobody just got in because of their audition. You can ask the people who did get in our recent audition. They were all invited to our chat box first, and we saw how everyone get along. There was a couple people who decided that wasn't for them, so they didn't stick around. It's you. We really were just looking for a way to break the ice. When there's that many hundreds to thousands of people, you have to narrow it down. You just have to. There's no way to go through and look at every single person and just spend time with them and not hold auditions if you really are looking for new members. And then on the popularity comment, I don't think studios get created for the want to be popular. I know Re-Evolution was definitely not like that. When we started Re-Evolution, it was because we had a group of friends who all happened to be AMV editors that were in a chat box, and we talked with each other for, some of us for many years. We've been really close friends online. We talked a lot, and we all edited. None of us were in a studio, and we thought the concept was cool, so we started one. Catsy22 and I talked Strawberry Kiss into making Re-Evolution. That's what happened. It was nothing about popularity or wanting to be cool. We just wanted to share a title because we were friends, and I think to that day it still stands to that in our studio. Everyone who's joined, we generally do have pretty good editors, but everyone who's joined has been let in almost primarily because of personality. We still have our Skype chat box. We still talk in it, and it's really important to us. And then now the third thing I want to talk about is the concept of the main studio. The main reason for wanting someone to be exclusive to your studio is the main reason you have it anywhere. You go to any online game, your clan or your guild, it's exclusive. You can't be in multiple guilds. The first reason for that would be activity. If someone's in 8 studios, and you want to edit an MEP with your members, how can you expect them to be reliable if they're always running around having tons of projects and they're dedicated to a lot of people? Activity is a huge thing, and it's hard enough for some people to stay active in one studio, let alone if they're in 6. And then, it's about being loyal to your friends. If you decide a studio is not working for you and you don't want to be there, great. Leave, do something else. We had a couple members that left just because they wanted to do something else, like Shiny Apple Productions, and they're still great friends of ours. We still talk to them all the time and stuff, and there was nothing wrong with that at all. No one judged them for that. But, it's just something that makes sense to be exclusive to your group. If you want to be in a studio and you want to have close friends in your studio, you think you'd want to show some loyalty to that. You wouldn't want to be running around and having 8 different taglines in your videos of all these different studios and groups you're in and stuff like that. If you really want to be involved with your friends and you want to share a title with them, it should be exclusive, I think, anyway. And that's how all of our members feel too. So that's why Re-Evolution specifically is the way it is, and I'm sure that's why most of the main studios, quote unquote, also feel that way and also run the way they do. Next thing is drama. I don't think drama in the AMV community is exclusive to studios at all. Drama is just really in any group of people. People feed and create drama, and that's just a fact. So you get a group of people anywhere, and there's going to be drama. It's just impossible for people to just absolutely perfectly get along 100% because people disagree, and they take things differently. So one thing said by one person could mean completely something else to somebody else. So that's just something that's going to be in anything. And then the last thing would be AMV editing is a hobby. Even if it's a hobby, that doesn't mean you can't be professional about it or take pride in what you do. Everyone has different purposes for that hobby. Like I myself, I hardly ever edit. I'm a very minor editor. I'm not that good at editing. And, more in the AV aspect is watching for me. I take high entertainment value out of watching AVs. But I have high standards for what I watch. I like to watch good AMVs, There's 5,000 5 centimeter per second sentimental AMVs, so those don't interest me because they've been done. I look for originality. I look for cool effects and things that are visually stimulating because that's what I want to watch, And there's a lot of people who want to create things like that. So even if it is a hobby, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be good at your hobby, If you paint for a hobby, you don't just want to be painting in stick figures. You want to improve your skills and you want to get involved. You want to learn and you want to grow. So I don't think that by looking for high skill set members for your studio that you're being petty in any form. I think it's just that is the way things are. You want, just because it's a hobby doesn't mean it can't be a well done hobby. So, and then kind of backtracking here, um, with the looking at popularity and looking at having good members and stuff. You mentioned that main studios primarily are prejudiced against unexperienced editors, and I entirely disagree. Uh, like in Re-Evolution specifically, the majority of our members, as I mentioned, were picked by personality. It just happens to be we surround ourselves with intelligent and easy to talk to people who have common sense. Um, and that's just, I mean, that's how it is. I mean, we even have quite a few members who primary language isn't English, and we still have easy and great conversations with them because they're smart, and it's fun talking to smart people. And I know this sounds elitist or rude, but I personally don't want to be in a studio with someone who I think is a dumbass, because I don't enjoy being around that person or talking to them. And it happens to be that most smart people know how to edit pretty well. They have a pretty good concept of it, and they want to push themselves, and they want to get better. So there's a lot of people who are really considered friends and around Revo, and people who even joined Revolution who are not great editors, but they've become great editors because they're smart. And when they started hanging around with us and we started talking to them, we knew they were smart, and we knew we could get along with them, and we knew they could do good. So I don't know. That's just my opinion on everything. I think partially, I mean, I don't know Lilieth at all, but I think partially the reason she's so mad at studios is because she had a bad experience with whatever she had, and you combine that with the whole atmosphere of what she's seen, and of course that sets a negative standpoint for her. But I think that also charges her to be a little harsh against things that she doesn't really understand. And I find there's a lot of people who don't understand. And a lot of people who think, oh, I didn't get in a studio, they must dislike me. It's nothing like that. It's just, especially when it comes with the popularity, which Re-Evolution didn't ask for. Most of the people were popular before we made Re-Evolution. You don't start making AMVs because you think you can be a superstar doing it. It's just something you like doing. And it's not like you should be judged or you should stop doing it because you get popular. That's ass backwards thinking. So I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it. Take it or leave it.